Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. I'm your host, Yjang, and my co-host is the wonderful, the despicable, the absolute Jeffrey.
Don't watch Tangent Podcast. Go watch something else. There's better stuff.
No, please, don't. You're chasing me away.
All of them are gone. Everyone's left. It's over.
Oh.
Dream crushed. Everything's gone.
Well, there goes our entire...
It was all for the joke, though. It was worth it.
That goes away the 5 people that were like, I'm not too sure about this podcast, but now I definitely don't want to watch it.
Tangent Podcast. I'll listen to it. Welcome to Tangent Podcast. We're your host, blah, blah. Go watch something else. Real good advertising spiel.
Speaking of which, this brings us to today's sponsor. No one. Seriously, what's with that? Come on, people. You should know that the Tangent Podcast is the best.
Give us your money.
Give us your money. We're the best podcast for all advertising across the world. Not even
family friendly.
Family friendly, all ages. We only drop like 5 F-bombs per episode.
Every 6 seconds.
Fuck.
Listen, all we care about is your money.
Yes.
Okay.
No, let's discuss the purpose of this podcast, Jeff. So.
Okay.
So the purpose of this podcast...
Why did you agree to Tangent Podcast?
You know what? I think the reason why I wanted to start this is because I love listening to podcasts, and I always thought, man, I want to do one. I want to create a podcast, but I have no friends that would be willing to do this. And then Jeffrey told me like, oh, I listen to podcasts all the time. I always wanted to make one too.
I watch podcasts.
You can. There's a lot of podcasts on YouTube now. Now it's 2018. New stuff.
Well, this will probably be on YouTube.
Maybe. But I mean, with the H3 podcast, I listened to this other one called College Info Geek by Thomas Frank.
Never heard of it.
That's because that's the place where you learn to become an awesome, super senior high school student. Speaking of which, we're all about to be high school graduates.
Yep, in like, I don't know, 2 weeks around there?
2 weeks?
Sometime around there.
Speaking of graduates,
it's like 2.5.
Guess who just graduated?
Insert college here.
Baby.
You're giving away your location.
Oh, you're
now,
right.
Now, like 6 months from now, people are going to be like, I wonder where they live. They'll go back to literally episode 1, and they'll know.
Ooh, I'm gonna
Good job.
That.
Listen, I don't live anywhere near him. You can't find me.
Okay, I'm gonna cut that.
Okay. Okay. So now, also, I'm mildly sick. Why I started doing this podcast is because I enjoy talking. Me and Yjang had always talked like for a long time. We would like. We have multiple clubs together that we go to at school. No, and afterwards, we'd always talk for like an hour. Huh?
No, actually, no, we're really quiet. I mean, we barely talk to each other. We only like 10 seconds and then, in and out, bye.
Yeah. But we would talk and I'm like, we could make money off of this. That's my entire reason is I really like money. And I want more of it for what I do best, which is hearing myself talk. Side notice, as you probably noticed, I have a very slight stammer. It sometimes gets really bad. But when I'm very nervous or excited, kind of like I am right now, it acts up. So if you make fun of me, I will hunt you down. Because...
Jeff Harmon, this is your long-lost son. You need to pick him up from school.
Listen, today I went out with my brother. I have a brother, by the way. Mm-hmm. And we went to this sub place and we got some sandwiches. And I said I was just stopped. And instead of going like
you're crashing,
you couldn't say any words. It just went and I stood there like, come on, Jeffrey, say something, anything. And she looks at me like, is this guy like mentally handicapped or something? And then I go like, yeah, I want it with no mustard. And she goes, okay. So every time that happens, it kind of kills me inside.
Well, but this is also a podcast to we can't afford therapy, so we decided to just talk it out.
Yeah, definitely. No, I can probably afford therapy. I'm just too cheap.
Okay, well,
So,
for one of us, we can't just... Actually, now that I think about it, I probably could afford therapy. I wouldn't be able to do it long. Like, same thing.
Same.
You know what I really would love to do, like, on a consistent basis? Get a massage, like, every week.
Oh, that sounds great. Like, every day I wake up and my, like, shoulders hurt.
Yeah.
And I flex them and stuff, but I'm just like, man, this isn't ever gonna go away. But like that is when you know you have hit the like high life. Is when like, oh, I got my massage every week.
I know. Big. Like seriously, I think that should be our goal, to make enough money from this podcast where we can get a massage and a happy ending every week, every Sunday.
And a happy ending? Excuse me? Well, explain yourself to the children in the audience. Gotta help any children who are watching this.
I'm sorry, no, there's no children in the audience. This is rated M for mature. This is in the same rank as Skyrim, Fallout 4.
Hey kids,
Fortnite.
Hey kids, you want a very nice words you should repeat to your parents? Go fuck yourself, you scum fuck asshole. Kill yourself. Hitler, Nazis, communism. What am I saying?
Who's going to advertise
all
for
that
us?
to your parents?
Who is ever going to advertise?
That was terrible.
Yeah, no. I hope Squarespace advertise.
Sure, I'm making a good impression to the advertisers, aren't we?
Does or WordPress.com. Actually, yeah, WordPress.com. I'm actually using your software, so. If anyone, not saying I'm picking favorites, but
Hey, listen, we will say anything you want, okay? I will literally say anything you want me to say for the money.
Ooh, Jeff, you're the okay.
If you're an advertiser.
Advertiser. No, Jeff, I think you already opened it up for like if someone paid you $1,000, you'd be willing to say something you would never say.
Well, I would have to preface all of them to make sure it's not like horrid. But like if a fan is like, hey, $200 to say happy birthday to me, it's like, fuck yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, I would do that any day. I'll give you a song for $200.
Yeah, or if they're like sing on the next podcast for 30 seconds.
That'll be
I'd do that. Yeah.
Happy birthday,
apparently
David.
I have a pretty good singing voice, so
Look
but hey,
at that.
You'll have to pay to hear that.
Yes, you'll never. That's the walled garden. You'll never hear his baritone voice until you pay up. So come on, people.
I don't know what that means.
That's okay. You're not a band kid.
I took 2 music classes in middle school, but I never like paid attention at all.
Why?
I was the kid in the back of the class because I was an idiot and didn't care. So I would sit in the back of the class with my come on, Jeffrey, recorder.
Yes.
And I would get all my friends around me, and I would be in the corner, and they would circle me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like sort of hunch over and play the recorder as loudly and as ear-piercingly as possible to annoy everyone else in the class. And me and my friends thought this was very funny.
So
I was too busy doing that all class to pay attention.
So you're just a kid trying to get attention because they can't find any other way to do so normally?
Yes, I had only 3 friends.
Oh, Jeff.
And thinking about it, none of them are my friends anymore because they all moved on.
Well, this is another function of the podcast, so that way we keep in touch.
Yeah. Let me just spill all my childhood trauma right onto the internet where it'll be forever.
No, you can't. We need to save it for the other episodes, so don't even try that.
Yeah. We'll have episode 16, childhood trauma. That'll be very advertiser friendly.
No, I think that something like that could work out. WordPress.com, need a place to vent out that childhood trauma that has been going for your life for the past 15 years. And you need a website so everyone can finally get it off your chest. Well, now you can. At Squarespace. Start a podcast.
Yep. Perfect.
So, what was I to ask? So, now that we're both going into what is called the real world, What do you expect to do now that we're about to graduate?
Well, I got college ahead of me, and I'm pretty sure you do as well. But
Yeah.
I think your question is sort of like maybe how it's going to be different.
Well, how do you feel like you're gonna more or less act whenever you're basically by yourself? Well, I mean, you won't be by yourself. You'll be in.
We're idiots and like to reveal our identities casually, but you'll never find that out.
How do you think your life will change, or at least what do you want to become?
What I want to become? Personally, I'm heading into the business field. I'm not really sure where in the business field yet. I was thinking business management or something around there because I think I'm a fairly good leader.
You'd be digital marketing.
Maybe. But I'm also keeping my options open because I think I might want to try to be a lawyer. Still a bit iffy about that, but that's my two things.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you ever apply to Georgetown University, I'll give you my word. I'll give you my recommendation.
You are not going there. You don't have any. You don't have the money to live there.
Yeah, that was the only real reason why I didn't go. Honestly, if I had the money, well, actually, you know what, Jeffrey? I'm not too sure if I would have still gone because, like, I would have to spend an additional 4 years in college, whereas right now I'm only going to have to go to college for 2 years if I do it right.
Oh, because they wouldn't have taken your AA from.
No, don't say.
Place.
You
already said the town earlier.
Is cut.
Yeah, there'll just be a big like beep over it.
No, the thing about censorship is that you won't even know it happened. Just
like China.
Dun, dun,
you won't even know it's there. This podcast is now sponsored by the
People's Republic of China.
CP. Yeah, how many C's are in that thing?
I also want to give a shout out to my my favorite boy, Kim Jong-un, KJP. I mean, no, KJU.
Okay.
That sounds like that sounds like a university.
Yeah. Speaking of Lil Kim, I just thought of him as like a rapper. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw this image the other day, which was someone photoshopped. It was at like a McDonald's in like South Korea. Okay. And there were these two people kissing. It was this like young guy and girl, and they were at this table in McDonald's, and Kim Jong-un is sitting on the other side of the table with his like hands in his lap and his face down. He looks really like depressed, and it was very funny.
What?
I gotta go find it.
Send it to me. Send it to me as soon as you can.
Yeah.
This is gold.
Where the hell did I find it? This. So yeah, I'm pretty sure some places have like pictures for each of their podcasts.
Yeah.
This has to be the one for this podcast.
Oh, this has to be a really good picture before.
Where the hell did I find it? Talk about something like while I go look for this.
You know, one of the things I gotta say I like about Lil Kim is that for the most part, he kind of makes like living in the United States very interesting next to Donald Trump. But at the same time, I feel like an existential threat looking at the fact that this fat boy, I'm sorry, that's wrong. This thick boy is basically threatening my entire life and also the world's, balance. It kind of seems a bit wrong. But hey, what can you do? You know, one of the things I was learning. What? Oh, you found it?
Okay, I did not find it, but I found two other things.
Okay.
I don't know if this image is real, but I'm gonna let you transcribe this to the viewer.
Oh,
just looking at that is funny.
Wait. Let me just the gay, black, Jewish.
Jewish.
Yes, Jewish. This is gonna be lore. The black, gay, Jewish Klansman for tolerance and understanding. SpongeBob SquarePants fan club meetings in Tyrone Bob's basement every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. You know,
it's so great.
And the thing that makes it even better is that one of them, I think that's a sword in one hand and then a shotgun in the other with a purple.
Yeah. Listen, I hope this is real and that this is not fake.
I you know what? To be honest, I actually do because like thinking about this will be like the perfect like weapon for anybody that's like, I want to be like, for example, say I want to become a feminist, and or if I was an anti-feminist or something like that, I would just do the exact opposite of the group I don't like and just make fun of them like this. This would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Because
sorry, go ahead.
It'd be like the perfect satire, and you know, be better if my group is more popular than the other one, just off
it'll overshadow it.
Exactly. That's the perfect comeback.
That is genius. But also, I think I found the actual picture for this podcast, which is this.
Ooh, that's actually
2018 picture.
You know, I would say it's near perfect. My only problem is the Yoda. I mean, I think we could have done...
Great.
It's good, but it's like, how should I say? I wish it was a Jake Paul.
That would have been... Okay, so because this is a audio medium and not a visual, what we're talking about right now is an image of
we'll put this in the show notes, but...
Yeah. Of the Oval Office. And everyone's around clapping. There's like Rand Paul. I forgot what her name was. And everybody's there.
Mike Pensy Pants. Wait. Is that Kanye? No, that's not Kanye.
Thanks, Kanye.
No,
very cool.
I'm sorry. There was that one black person in the back, and I thought maybe it's Kanye, but no, it was just a random black guy. You know, thinking about it, there's only one black guy out of what, like 20 people I saw in that photo.
Isn't that slightly racist that you see a black guy and you think Kanye?
You know, the reason I was thinking about Kanye is because, you know, Donald Trump and him were hanging out recently, and I'm thinking, like, maybe he was there for a sign.
They actually met up?
That's what I'm thinking. Haven't they been hanging out also?
I don't think so. I think they've been tweeting at each other with their whole thing, but I don't know if they've been, like, meeting.
That'd be cool. Like, to see Kanye. Dude, I would love if someone could have, like, Photoshop Kanye West and Donald Trump in the bathtub together, like, just relaxing next to candles. No, in a jacuzzi.
Oh, I didn't know you were into that, but
no, just be perfect. The picture of 2018, perfect.
That would be pretty good, honestly. Mm-hmm. But let's get off talking about visual media and head back to something else.
Yeah, something that's a bit more concrete and grounded. Like,
quickly think of a topic.
I don't know, jobs.
That's so boring.
Oh, because you don't have a job.
Hey, excuse me. I had one.
Actually, let's talk about it. I only heard a little about your job. I kind of want to hear more about it.
Okay. So how am I going to say this without saying where? So I worked at a cafe in my town that really catered towards old people. It was only open from like we opened I think earliest about 5:30, but no one really came in until about 6. So from 5:30 till about 2 p.m. There's only one shift. You would start at 5:30 and stay there till 2. Yeah, it sucked. But I had the job there as one of the dishwashers. There were 3 of us. But that doesn't sound terrible. I mean, the old people usually don't clean their plates. There's a lot of stuff on it. But it's not a terrible job. It was minimum wage, of course. But the really thing that was terrible was the place hadn't seen an update in tech since at least the 70s. This stuff was ancient, like older than me. And we had this really old steam cleaner for the plates. And every time you'd put it in, you would just make your hands all red and like you'd burn your hands because all the water was so hot and the thing was so repaired that it was just horrible. And the other thing was that the other dishwashers didn't do anything. They just kind of sat around and bullshitted and talked and didn't do anything. And I ended up doing most of the work. And they even got me doing like busboy work and all that because their busboy called out, and It was just not very fun, and I eventually ended up quitting just because it just was too much. It wasn't what I signed up for. I signed up to be a dishwasher, not just I'm gonna put you wherever I want you.
Yeah.
I think that ended up happening because my mom worked at that cafe as this sort of like head waitress, so they expected me to sort of be very good like her, but this was just a lot more than I signed up for. So I took my pay and all that, and I just headed out after a while. And I'm happy for the pay and all that, but it was just a bit much. So
Well,
yeah,
seems kind of a crappy job. You know, I gotta say, so that was your first job, and I think that's the only job you had so far.
I had a smaller job, yeah, but it was extremely short-lived, anyways. So
Well,
it
that's
wasn't that
good.
long.
You know, actually, so going off of off your last job, I'm actually working right now at Home Depot, and I gotta say, as a part-time job, it's really good, really good. I gotta say though that the only thing I think the only reason I have like I like it as a job, but I don't like. I think I just don't like working for another person. I think that was the one thing I'm coming out of it, because for one, the scheduling is a real like for me it was a bit of a mess because we're in a transition where our HR is transferring and getting a higher pay raise to New York, and so she's doing pretty well. But at the same time, like at my schedule, I have like a whole week where I don't have any work, and I just have to ask my supervisor like, hey, can you give me some hours so I'm not like broke by the end of this week. So it's kind of rough. But besides that,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
Your schedule's been really weird.
I know.
Like, it seems like you work almost like every single day. Like you're never off.
Well, the thing is, like, I think like today I'm not working, but they usually put me there for like they put me in the times where most people want me to work. For example, the morning on Saturdays and Sundays, that's when they want me because that's when most people go out shopping. And the afternoons on the weekdays because that's what I put in my schedule. I just recently got my schedule from 11 to 5, so that way I have my mornings and weekdays. I mean, my mornings and evenings to myself on the weekday. So that's good. But outside of that, they basically put me whenever they want. So some days I don't have to work throughout the week. Some days I working like 4 days throughout the week, but I usually have to work on the weekend.
Yeah, that's kind of like how my mom is.
But
so
I get
you're
$11
getting
an hour.
money at least, right?
Oh yeah, I get $11 an
Better
hour.
than usual.
It's pretty good for Florida. Like our buddy Bryce, he's trying to get a job there.
Oh, I thought he worked at a Chick-fil-A.
He quit because he wants to get a better job.
Oh, okay. Odd. He didn't tell me about that.
No.
Speaking of that, you know how me and him he asked me to be his walking partner or whatever for graduation. Like I said, I didn't know what that was, so he explained it to me. Where you go up and you get your diploma at the same time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We walk in and she goes, the lady who we're getting it from, she goes, yeah, you can't do it together because he's in NHS and I'm not. So you can only walk with people from if you're in NHS, with other people in NHS, which sucks because almost all my good friends are in that. So I'm not gonna be able to walk with anybody. So
yeah, I mean, I know Nkosi wants me to walk with him since we're both in NHS, but I can't walk with anyone else that I know. So it's kind of weird. I was surprised that that's something they block out for people. Like, oh no, I'm sorry, unless you're in NHS, you do not deserve. This is not yours.
Yeah, it seems a bit like, I don't know, what's the word? Snobby, kind of?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like it's a stupid rule.
Speaking of NHS, I was looking in the yearbook and my face is not in the NHS club.
I noticed that. It's not.
Except for one picture where I'm next to Nkosi at the very back. And I was like, what? What did the yearbook? And I was looking at my director, like, did I miss out something for why I'm not in the yearbook? And she said, no, I didn't have anything to do with it. So apparently, and here's the weirdest part: I actually know some of the people in the yearbook, but they messed up that.
Well, at least you're in the yearbook. I know some of the people, like friends, that aren't even in the yearbook at all.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So,
actually, you know what? I gotta say, Jeffrey, it's kind of weird because, like, in the yearbook, you weren't at the picture for youth and government, so.
Well, that's because I didn't show up to the actual picture thing because I was either sick or I forgot. I don't remember which.
It's probably that you forgot.
Both. Yeah, I am quite forgetful. I ask anyone who knows me. I forget things.
I think like one of the things I need to do more is just use my calendar, because without it, I'm basically like I can't do anything, because it's like, oh, Yjang, you want to go and hang out today? It's like, sure. I don't think I have anything to do, and then I realize, like, when we're almost done with our day, it's like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be at an event today, and I just totally forget about it.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. Like, I'll come home from school and be like, oh, I got nothing. Let me go play some games for a few hours. And then the day goes on, but I go in my room, and I start going to sleep. And right as I go to sleep, I'm like, didn't I have some homework to do? And then I just go to sleep, and the next day it's due, and I didn't do it. So, yeah, that sucks.
I gotta say, I became less structured, or at least I feel more lazy now than I did as a sophomore or a freshman.
Senioritis.
I think that's the reason why. It's kind of weird. Like, even now when they're like, "Oh, would you like to be an honors, like an honors student in college?" I was like, "No, please don't. I don't want to."
Yeah, it's a lot of work. When I signed up for all that, like at the end of middle school, I didn't really expect all this work. You know, it's quite a lot. I mean, college is going to be like a lot too. I mean, I'm sure there are college students listening is going like, oh, you kids don't even know, and all that kind of stuff.
I want to say to those college students that I do know. I did it for 2 years, and I'm about to graduate my HS degree.
I want to say to those college students, fuck you. You don't know me.
Yeah, you don't know us.
Get out.
You don't know us. Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Then you'll get to know me.
Last time I posted on Twitter was like 3 years ago.
I'm starting to become more frequent on Twitter, and I like it. You know what's weird?
On anything that's not Reddit.
I think I'm not too sure if I like Twitter because I'm technically hipster, because people call me hipster even though I don't try to be hipster, or I like Twitter because I don't like Facebook, and it's the only thing that's not Facebook that's I enjoy, because Twitter is like the compromise between an Instagram and a Reddit.
What's so bad about a Reddit?
Reddit is good. I mean, Reddit is basically like you aggregate everything that you like as a topic, so it's pretty good in that. But it's not really good if you want to talk about yourself, because one of the best things about Reddit is being anonymous, so you can be honest. Whereas with Facebook, you basically have to be super fake or super like vain. And Twitter, you can still do that, but there's more of a way for you to just say random stuff that you care about, and it will just go under the radar. Or it's just, like, hey, this is just part of my, my Twitter account. We'll deal with it. It's not like everyone is so focused on the present that your past log doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I just don't see the point in all the like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. Like, I use Reddit because it lets me see things I want to see. Keep up with like communities and such. But Facebook and Twitter, it's like I don't care about talking about myself to other people that I don't know. Well, ironic that I'm doing this right now, but I don't know. I just never got into it.
Yeah, Jeffrey, stop being so.
Shut up. Listen, you want to see the stuff that like I post on Reddit? Look at that. Look at that image that I edited and made.
You made this? Wait, let me get.
I didn't make the image. I found it and I edited it to make it better.
It's actually pretty good for.
It took me like 20 minutes.
It's pretty good for a deep fried meat.
I actually made this one though. Okay, so I was in God of War and I found out there's this photo mode. So I took a picture of Kratos smiling with a filter on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I reinstall Snapchat because I get a wonderful idea, and I put the dog filter on them, and then I deep fry it and put an X on it, and I post it calling it "Thought of War."
Oh, that's perfect.
And I got 3 upvotes.
That deserves a clap and a half right there.
Thank you. It's
I would upvote it for I'll upvote it for one more. Let me see if I can.
I just sent you the actual image.
Yeah, okay.
Plus, I don't want you knowing what my fucking like Reddit username is.
Yeah, actually, no. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Please.
That's the purpose of Reddit. We're not supposed to know who's who, and that's why I like it.
Like, I keep all my like stuff I actually want to hide like away from my real account. Mm-hmm. But even then, like, I don't want you going through my fucking history.
No, and I think like that's the reason why my Reddit account. Last time I had an email attached to my old one, and I deleted it. And this time I just have a Reddit account where I just know the password and the username. Because I want to be able to, if at a moment's notice, just like, I don't like using this account anymore, or it's getting too hot, I'm just going to, drop it and then move on to something else.
I bet we lost some people when we mentioned Reddit because they think we're just like, I don't know, giant nerds. And I mean, they'd be kind of right.
I mean, I'm trying to go into computer science, so if you want to peg me as a nerd,
I mean, if you saw a picture of me, I'm pretty much the spitting image of like the generic neckbeard.
And I'm the spitting image of a token nerd in a corner working on his computers. Wait, okay, so I have a question for this episode. Should we just go by our usernames?
What do you mean? I think going by first name is fine, as long as we don't say our last name.
Yeah.
And you don't say how you spell yours.
Well, I mean, obviously, they're never going to get it unless they really know me or research hard.
And they wouldn't get mine because it's not the like traditional way to actually spell it.
Well, it's not even that, but your name's so common, so.
Hey, I have never met another Jeffrey.
I have
isn't in my family.
I have met a lot. I have met like at least 5 Jeffreys in my life.
Oh,
so far. And
was there anything in common about them? Because I find people with the same name usually have things like in common.
Half of them were nerds because, who I am. And the other half of them were pretty jacked. They're basically like, one of them was like, goes to the gym all the time. And the other one was a vet.
Like a veterinarian or like a veteran?
Veteran.
Oh, okay. How would you know a veteran? What war?
I think he told me he was serving in Afghanistan. He was like 28. Yeah.
So, moving on topic, what do you think about the news going on right now about there's a lot of it. So, what do you think about what's going on in the Korean area with their peace talks and such?
Honestly, I recently took an international relations course, so I know a little. I'm not saying I'm an expert at all. Don't peg me as an expert. I barely pay attention.
Takes one college class, expert.
Yeah, but I honestly think that this is a power move for the Kim family, so that way they can get more resources. In exchange, the U.S. gets a media play where they look like they're doing like they're making advancements towards peace. Same thing for South Korea, but really they leave North Korea to do what they want as long as they submit to a couple demands. But basically, I don't think anything regards to like, the constant human rights abuses, the dynasty of the Kim family, that's not going to change for at least another, 10 years or longer. Yeah,
I think it's kind of like the Iran deal we did where we say we're going to do something, but nothing really is going to happen. Like, we're going to the table, but I doubt much is going to happen. But honestly, I think Kim is doing it because this is the only way he's going to like be kind of all right in the end, because if he stays how he is, he'll either provoke the U.S. or South Korea enough, or his people will finally stop listening to him. And if he fully gives in, then he'll just be like kicked out. But I think he's trying to take a middle road to try to at least semi stay in power, to try to maybe go the China route.
Well, the thing is, this is not the first time. This has happened with his father in the six-party talks in like 2003, I believe it was. Where essentially They did the same play where they're looking like they're going for peace, but really they decided to pull out when they got all the stuff that they wanted, and just acted like the way they are today. And when it comes to like Kim, he really plays the game of being crazy for the sake of keeping people on his edge so they can give in. Kind of like how Hitler was like, "Oh, if you give me this land, I won't start getting crazy anymore." And we did that, and he decided, well, I'm going to do it again, so they give me more stuff. It's like, appeasement has been going on since like the 1930s, and I think it's like the same modern day version.
Yeah, I don't think appeasement honestly works. I think you got to take one approach or the other. I think that sort of middle road just shows weakness, honestly.
Well, it's not even that. It's kind of like, for me personally, appeasement is really terrible for like the society, not so much the leaders. The leaders get to come away and say, "Hey, I did all I could do, and guess what? We managed to get a little peace for the next couple months." But the leaders and the person who's actually doing the wrong thing, or our enemies, is just like, "Hey, I got the stuff I wanted. I just need to do this again in about a couple months, and all things are good." I mean, basically what we're getting, I think, through this deal, Kim, is like maybe 3 to 5 years of peace, and then he goes back to the way he is, but he gets economic benefits. But the reason that he can't like get too much is because if his country does well enough economically, then the people realize how terrible their lives are. Because one of the things about capitalism is that it lets the people become more like eased to the idea of having freedom, and because of that, it makes them want to go against their government. Not like the government won't stop it, but it makes it easier for, say, like the U.S. were to like make a economic bomb by putting a lot of money into the economy, like flooding it with U.S. dollars, and then it goes down south for it to rebuild again. Or a military coup by the United States where it installs its own leader that it will work with, that makes capitalism easy for investors, or however it wants to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we would go to the second round. It'd probably be the first one. I don't see our current administration. Well, maybe. I don't know. I just don't see the Trump administration as the imperialist.
No, they're way the isolationist. The only thing is, like, personally, like, here's the thing when I think about, like, globalization. Personally, it's bad for people, like citizens. Like, when I had to re-examine when I was thinking about why do, like, the alt-right hate, like, globalization and all these things. And one of the reasons why I think I understood a little bit more what they think about is because one of the parts about globalization lets capital, money, be more free, but humans are not able to free flow throughout the world. They're stuck in one place, which means if their value or services are not needed in a place, then they lose out to people who can do the job cheaper, and they suffer. Which is why people are like, "Oh, I hate these Indians because they're taking all our jobs," because their economic value is cheaper compared to the United States. And the Indians do benefit, but the people who have those jobs in the U.S. Don't. And the only option they have is to either adapt or die.
Definitely, yeah. Globalization is definitely a very big issue with a lot of things about it. But my sort of general opinions about it is, it's good in some aspects, kind of bad in the others. Like, I think the world's being more open in terms of like economics and sort of free trade and that sort of thing is good. But the sort of globalization we see in the EU, where it's like everyone is united under one flag and one government, I don't like that personally. I like national sovereignty, where nations can have their own laws. So some of it's okay, some's not, just like most things.
You know, I was reading this book, Understanding Power, and I know you hate the author, Noam Chomsky. But one of the things, I know you hate him, but one of the things that I liked from the book was, as I'm reading it, is that essentially all governments today are state-run economies.
At least semi-partially, yes.
Because, like, even the United States, for example, free capitalism basically means no government intervention at all, where if the economy busts or booms, it's entirely dependent on the market, which is basically like, you know, Wild West anarchy. Like, if Fallout New Vegas had that economic system, actually it did have.
Well, I wouldn't say New Vegas, because there's actually like governments. I would
you're
say
right.
Like 3, which
Yeah,
only had like 2 or 3 towns.
Yeah, because
So
Fallout 4 was more structured, I believe. Last time I
yeah,
remember.
4 in New Vegas actually had like factions. 3 was just like, yeah, welcome to a crater.
So aside from like the post-apocalyptic scenery, I think that's what a free enterprise system would work as. Whereas today we're in like a middling area where it's degrees of how much control you give businesses. For example, full control of the state is like China, Soviet Russia. Less control.
Well, I wouldn't say China. China is not really fully communist anymore, but
right, but
Soviet Russia under like Stalin, yeah, definitely.
yeah. And then today it's still state controlled, but the United States, Great Britain, Australia, they're state controlled, but they're mostly free economies.
I would say the United States to a lesser extent. I think we're one of the freest economies out there.
Comparatively, yes. Next to like Switzerland, I would say. Maybe Switzerland or Liechtenstein are probably way better.
Where even is Liechtenstein? Is that even a real country?
It is. It's like next to Switzerland and France and Luxembourg in between.
Sorry to all our Liechtensteinian, I don't know, fans listening. Your country is very real.
Your country is real, and it's probably one of the most freest libertarian economies in the globe.
Let me go look up where that is.
Liechtenstein.
I don't think it's a real country. I think it's a town. It's a town. It's not a country.
Isn't it? It is a country.
It's a town in Germany.
No, Wait,
it is?
It is a country.
Wait, no.
Check it out.
What the fuck? There's 2 Liechtensteins.
Yeah, there's the municipality.
Why did this country exist?
Here's the reason why.
Liechtenstein, why do you exist? I'm on Google Maps right now.
It's a landlocked country tucked away between Switzerland and Austria. It's the richest country in the world per capita, and it's entirely in the Alps. And
Who made this country?
It's a constitutional monarchy headed by a prince, so it's been there.
Okay. Tangent mode. Fuck all monarchs. All monarchs should be deposed. Even figurehead monarchs like the Queen. I'm sorry, Brits. I hate your monarch. You should get rid of them. Listen, no one should bow to a king or a queen. They have no right over you. All rulers should be elected. And no, elective monarchies, you do not have a loophole here. You are a monarchy. All leaders should be elected by the people and should have term limits. So even figurehead ones like of Sweden and Denmark and does Belgium have one? I think so.
Possibly.
Britain and a bunch of other ones. You don't need them.
I really don't care personally. Like I don't think.
I mean, they're not that important, but I think it's just the like principle of it. Of like, you don't need a monarch. I thought we were past this, but first we should deal with like actual big monarchs, like the Saudi kings. Yeah. And all these other like Middle Eastern monarchs, those should go first.
Okay.
And then we should deal with Then we should deal with the monarchs in monarchs. What's the term like for it? Basically, they're like monarchs, but they just don't call themselves that. Like Kim Jong-un, and it looks like Xi Jinping is heading that way, and a bunch of other these like socialist communist countries. And then we can deal with the European ones. So what I'm saying is the Earth needs to unite to kick out all monarchs. That's my radical view of the day with Jeffrey.
All right. So my radical view of the day is kick out all current governments and establish a grassroots democracy where instead of a republic, it's just a democratically elected body of federations and states.
I mean, I kind of agree with that.
Essentially, instead of having like a big old republic constitution, it's like, okay, group, everyone in Florida, we're all going to vote for who should be our regional leader, and they all are voted by a STV voting system. Change a lot of voting systems, in my opinion, and get rid of first past the post.
I think first past the post is the best thing that we can have, but I do not want to get into that right now because that'll take like an hour. But your sort of idea here, I think it's okay, but I don't know. I think it'll just devolve into warring states until one takes power.
I
Like,
just don't like central power. I really don't.
I mean, I don't either, honestly. We agree on that much. Like, I don't agree. Like, countries like the U.S. could probably be split into like at least 3 or 4 pretty decent sized countries. We're really big.
Are you kidding me? I think if we really wanted to, the United States could be split into 30 countries safely.
I'd place it more towards about 15.
Fine, 15.
Because a lot of the Midwest, you'd have to group like multiple states together to make anything that's resembling a semi-powerful country.
Yeah, like Florida, California, and Texas could be its own thing. That's not a problem. It's like
New York could be its own thing.
Yeah, but look at Rhode
Texas.
Island. That place is nothing.
Yeah. Rhode Island would have to go with like Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire to make anything that's like reasonable.
Maine could be its own thing.
Well, they just joined Canada.
Nah.
For like safety.
No, I don't think they would. I think we have a alliance, but they can be their own thing.
So moving on past this tangent I was going on, let's place down our political beliefs. Okay. I'll let you go first.
All right. So I'm in the quadrant left libertarian, but political. Actually, you know what? It'd be better if I put in the show notes exactly how far down I am. But essentially, you cannot put me next to Mao Zedong in any circumstances. I will be the first to shoot him down. If you were to put me next to Hitler, I would go on a rampage and destroying every single person in there. I don't like the thing is, the only reason I'm not an American libertarian, the way that is libertarian right, is because personally, I think libertarian right is self-destructive. Whereas libertarian left is more, it progresses. I think the only problem I feel about the world in many respects is that everyone's too authoritarian, giving up their power to a central body. But at the same time, I'm also afraid that everyone's giving up a lot of their autonomy to corporations, which is lead to a world system of corporatism. Yeah. So yeah, I'm basically around the areas of like Mahatma Gandhi, MLK, Noam Chomsky, around that little circle. And Bernie Sanders is basically, like, out of the American popular, figures, he's closer to me, but he's, like, really far authoritarian than I am. He's just, on the line between left libertarian and left authoritarian. So I really am not, totally on board with them at all.
So would you consider yourself a capitalist or a socialist?
Oh, I think if I had to choose between the two, capitalist, because the only thing that makes sense. However, I think capitalism should take notes of more socialistic policies. That's the only thing. I prefer capitalism as the main driving body, but there's some things about capitalism that are too dog eat dog world that makes it self-destructive. That's the only reason. If there was more of a push towards sustaining. Because capitalism to me is not self-sustaining without a type of grassroots democracy. Because I don't think that it has to be capitalism versus democracy, because it can work together. The only problem is that when you give too much power to one side, there's misplaced in the balance of the world.
So my political beliefs, if you're looking at the political compass, which I know some people are going to be like, oh, the political compass is stupid and flawed. Whatever, I'm using it as a base here. Sue me. If you see, because I'm on the right, if you look where it says economic and then right on the sort of right side, I'm around between the O and the M in economic. On the right side, and I'm straddling the line between authoritarian and libertarian. So me and Yjang have some very differing views, but we agree on a lot of libertarian type stuff, although I'm not as much libertarian as him. What else should I say? Oh yeah, I believe in capitalism. I really hate communism. I think socialism has a few decent things, but I still think capitalism does things fairly well. I want to go kind of back to how our economy used to be, unlike the big government we have now. And how much control.
Definitely.
I don't have the sort of fear of corporations like he does. I mean, I'm not going to give them all my power, definitely, because that's just another central power taking over. But I'm also not going to be afraid of a few big ones. I definitely don't want like monopolies and such. But I'm not just paranoid about them. If I had to list major like issues I'm interested in, abortion. Yjang knows that much. Me and him have long conversations about that.
I'm the fence straddler when it comes to abortion.
Yeah, you are. Although you're a very odd fence sitter. Gun rights are a very big thing for me,
Same
but
there.
mostly just sort of constitutional rights, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to like right to bear arms, right to privacy. That's really my biggest thing. And I mean, I went through a big like political and sort of personal journey a few years ago, like examining myself and what I believe. And looking at the left right now, it just seems to be going in the wrong direction to me.
Yeah,
It
it's
seems to be heading back towards the 20th century.
yeah. Just to add on to it. One of the things I want to say is that I'm also interested in like, if I had to pick a party, I would say the Green Party, but they're too socialistic to me. They're too socialistic for me. But I do agree with you. Like, one of the problems I have with the current left in America and also in other nations is that it's very, like, how you would say, it's very, like, simple minded, in my opinion. I don't know if there's as a correct way to say that. And that's probably going to be something like to kick off some advertisers right there. But it's kind of to the point where it's so focused on its own ideology, it doesn't see the bigger picture of the world when it comes to like the fourth wave feminism and other respects. Because when I think about it, it's not to say that some of the issues the left brings up aren't wrong. There's some things that there's definitely some good considerations we have to go over and actually implement, but I'm afraid of the fact that they give too much power to this authoritative body that everyone must follow or suffer, and that where it feels like reminiscent of a lot of socialist governments or laws.
Yeah, one thing I definitely don't like about the left compared to the right, at least in the U.S. and a little bit of what I've seen outside, um, the left seems very dogmatic, as in you have to stay in line. You can't really have a different idea than what the party is going with. While the right seems more of a sort of a big tent. You have people from Rand Paul all the way to Cruz, like completely different. They're still on the right. They agree on some things, but they're so very different. While on the left, the farthest you've got was Bernie, and he basically got kicked out by his own party. It was pushed against him because they don't want that. They want this nice, crisp image of someone like Hillary, and I don't know. It just seems very kind of thought controlling. Where like you're only allowed to think this.
I mean, for me, this is the thing where we both agree on. Like, for me, I like having agency in my ideas, and the current left is definitely like a bad portrayal of that. The only like for me, this is where like we differ. Where we both see the fact that having too much thought control of a government or a certain party is a bad idea. My only thing is that can be applied to also corporations, but essentially, this is the thing that I'm really worried at, that most people are just going to blindly accept it. Like, you told me about how your dad, not to have any hate on him, I think he's a great person. One of the things you told me is that, when he was talking about something that he believed in, you said he was just basically repeating something that Donald Trump said. And that worries me. Because it's like, well, if he doesn't even have an idea of what he believes in, he's just copying off what other people say, then where's the new ideas that are going to actually move us forward? Because it feels like we're just like cycling everything.
Well, I believe history sort of like cycles itself and does similar things over and over. But the biggest like sort of analogy I can think of that is sort of like, I don't know, following a demagogue kind of. People want to follow someone who they think is pushing towards something new, someone strong.
Big Daddy.
And I guess he saw Trump as this sort of like new figure to rally behind, because at least the Republican candidates past few years have been very, I don't know, not as bold as Trump, to use that word. And he sort of saw that and just took whatever he said as truth. Even though he changed his opinion about some stuff, like before he was more of a free trade guy, and now he's more of a protectionist and stuff like that. And yeah, it does sort of worry me to see people all around me sort of doing that. I mean, it's sort of what I disliked about the left infecting the right. You know, people had this sort of like Trump cult. I personally don't like the man for many different reasons. That's for another time. I don't know. I just don't like people just following instead of choosing. And yeah, there has to be leaders. I'm no anarchist, but you should really just think for yourself sometimes. Like, yeah, following can be good sometimes, but you got to think, you know?
Definitely. I mean, those are some of the things that you're going to hear in the Tangent podcast. So that way we clarify exactly when we talk about our issues, you know exactly where we are. And if you want to hate us, then you can at least say that, hey, we told you ahead of time.
Definitely, yeah. First episode, it was very varied from all around the place. The only thing that I sort of had in my mental checklist was me going over like meme theory.
We're going to say that for episode 2.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I can talk for like 45 minutes about that.
All right.
So,
well,
okay.
This has been the end of the Tangent podcast. If you want to hear more about us, or
the first episode.
Yeah,
not the end of Tangent.
No, yeah, this is the end of the first episode.
No, this is it. The first and only episode. It's done.
Yeah, but if you want to follow us, you can follow us on Twitter, where you can use the hashtag TangentPod, and you can.
That's terrible.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. We'll make a Twitter poll.
Make it like hashtag Tangent Podcast sucks.
Yes.
Perfect. That's it.
Tangent Podcast sucks. It's perfect. That'll be our hashtag. So you can follow us there. And where else can they can follow?
We'll probably make a YouTube account. Our website, which we're kind of making directly after this.
We're making our Tangent Podcast website, so you can just listen to all the episodes there and just.
It's tangentpodcast.com, I believe.
Yep, tangentpodcast.com.
You'll
We
find
bought
us
that
there, and eventually we might even get on the radio, but I doubt that because first too much.
Yeah, no. They're gonna tell us like, can you please make that PG-13? Like, can you drop like at least 5 of the F-bombs, or better yet, just all of them? And it's like, can we still say crap or shit? It's like, no, thank you.
Oh heck, mister, I can't curse anymore.
Jeez, Rick.
I watched the first season and I thought it was okay. And then when I screw a dislike for the show,
I think you
I'm just a hipster.
You hate the players, but you don't hate the game, man.
Yeah. Also, fun fact about me: I dislike things that are popular because I think it makes me feel more special.
We're hipsters.
Yeah.
That should be our. Instead of calling us co-hosts,
byline.
That should be our bylines.
Tangent Podcast. We're hipsters.
Perfect. Doesn't need any more explanations. Like, we're hipsters.
Yeah, we're like 18-year-old or hipsters from the South.
We're going to have to figure out also how to monetize. We're going to set up a Patreon account eventually. I don't know how.
We'll need can we, for the website, can't we do Google AdSense or something like that?
No, I don't think I want to.
Sounds good to me. Yes.
Oh
yeah, and advertisers, of course, but who's going to advertise on this?
It's gonna be like H3, where we say what we want and we have people that just like us for who we are. But most importantly,
we have to get popular first.
We have to get popular. But I mean, there's a good example of someone. I want to give a shout out to Tyson Bruno from B-Thought on YouTube, and he's a good example of that. You really don't need advertisers to keep your channel going.
I don't really know what you're talking about because I've never heard of the guy.
Because he only has 1.5 thousand subscribers, so he's really small. He deserves
better than us right now, right?
Yeah, but he deserves. Honestly, if I had to guess, he's like one of the people that deserves more subscribers, similar to Dolan Duck. If anything, I think he's better than Dolan Duck.
Dolan Duck? You mean Dolan Dark?
Dolan Dark, yeah. I would say that his memes are way better than Dolan Dark, and honestly, he deserves He deserves more. Let's just end it right now.
Well, see you next time on the Tangent Podcast. Show up for hot takes on very hot issues such as abortion and meme theory. We probably only talk about maybe 1.5 of those, and we'll talk about like some random shit. See you next time on Tangent Podcast.
Bye. All right.
That was stupid.
That was dumb. Well, yeah. This is a terrible podcast, but they're gonna love it.
Hey, it's something.